It is my great pleasure to introduce Anika Wyciślik-Wilson, a Gestalt psychotherapist, supervisor, bilingual therapist working in Polish and in English. She learned Gestalt and has lived in the UK for 20 years. For a few years, she lives in the Polish mountains. Her family, Anika, you're a very unique and close person who's been supporting the Łódź School of Gestalt from the very beginning. So thank you very much. I'm very happy that you're with us. Your presence here is truly important to me and to us. As a person who knows all my secrets and cares and worries and joys. So Anika, the title of your presentation is the cultural diversity at the therapist's office. I'm very curious in what you have to say about this, because also due to your personal and experience in this matter. So, without further ado, the floor is yours. Hi, can you hear me?
Najpierw muszę przystosować do tego formatu, bo widzę, że wszyscy macie
I
włączone.
need to get used to this format. All of you have. Do we have the cameras on? Can I ask people to turn the cameras on? Because it's a bit weird for me that you have your cameras off. Of course, those of you who can, because I understand that not everyone can. I see some familiar faces here as well, and those of you who can't, then stay as you are. Do we have interpretation? Because I don't know if I've turned everything on as I should have. I'm stressed because listening to the two intelligent, smart gentlemen. I have a song prepared, but it seems right to start with it. This is a song by Jacek Kaczmarski, the story of a certain migrant. It entails a certain story. It has the essence of what Anatoly said, and Jean-Marie was talking about it as well. So let me start with that, and then I will continue based on that. There is something in this about creative adjustment. My apologies to the interpreters. I work in two languages, so I can borrow from English. It might happen that I mix up languages. If I do that, my apologies, and I appreciate your hard work. Now, let me, if I may ask for some support, will this be seen? Can you see it? Okay. There will be words, and I'd like to ask the interpreters to interpret. Fear not, there will be no shortage. This country pure. Before the war, a communist, that's for sure. I yearned to be someone as a Jew in the fray. For if not someone, then nobody's sway. Perhaps that's why we're useful in this world's sphere. Bankers and fiddlers not casting us in fear. I wasn't a banker nor virtuoso grand. Survived the Russian cold on my own land. Crossed the Bug River with steps to fleet, with the Red Army as the polytrook neat. Moses-like I bore new laws decree for the restoration's base, as it had to be. Yet loyal to communism, as they saw fit, reclassified me a manicurist's bit. Love Mozart, God's back to my soul, amidst blood and fear where I played my role. Slept soundly to screams through the night's pall, music solace I couldn't recall. Post-October strife no more in the fold, from office to journalist, stories sold. Languages known, writing with ease, backwards or straight as you please, bound to this country, wretchedly so, Poland or Poles, Gomulka's throw. We are so like Pharaoh drove us away, professors, scholars, left in dismay, Tel Aviv's corner, momentum's flight, metacollegial memories ignite. Ashamed at the wall, am I communist, Pole or Jew, couldn't claim glory as some chose to do. Left for the States, a communist fate, teach the Americans sin to abate.
Powiedz im, co wiesz, co na sumieniu masz, a odkupisz grzechy i odzyskasz twarz. A ja przecież nie umiem nawet ująć w słowa, jak wygląda to.
Articulate the destruction wrought, redeem sins with lessons taught. Doomed myself in a twisted game, music lover turned officer in shame. Political officer, not a hero in Ruski sight, neither Zionist nor Gentile in the fight. To Jehovah I plea, stand behind my plight, with Poland's shame in the dark of night. To Jehovah I plea, stand behind my call, with Poland's dishonor, despite its fall.
Momencik. No. Zgubiłam się, przepraszam, ale nie wiem, co się dzieje tutaj.
Okay, got a bit lost, but right, here we are.
Dobra, chyba jestem.
I think I'm back.
Przepraszam za techniczne issues.
Sorry for the technical issues. Well, in this song, you could hear about a migrant's journey and about this creative adjustment and about what this person was left with. I don't know if it was translated properly. I'm just checking. Well, not entirely. Excellently. Thank you.
Więc chciałabym zacząć po pierwsze, bo nie wiem, czy to już było powiedziane, bo
Well, I don't know if it was said because
są duże różnice
that there are big differences between whether someone is, say, an emigre or they are an asylum seeker or they are, you know, these are very, or they are someone else. These are very important differences, and I don't know whether the distinction was made. Should I? Okay, maybe I'll start.
O czym mówili moi poprzednicy, jak coś będzie się powtarzało, to proszę
Okay, if just tell me if you don't understand anything, but when we work with people, I'll just switch it on.
Okay. Widać? Strasznie mało to widać, nie? Oj. Zapytam tylko, sprawdzam, widać?
Can you see this, all right?
Widać czy nie?
Can you see this or not?
Tak, widać. Okay.
Aniko, widać?
Folder, czy
Tak,
coś pan
różne
udostępnić?
foldery.
Proszę?
Musisz udostępnić coś ze swojego folderu, bo
A nie widać, bo u mnie już go widać, to co potrzebuję. Nie jest pokazane.
Inne okienko musi pani udostępnić. To, które chce
Dobra.
pani
A
udostępnić.
teraz?
Teraz widzimy folder.
Czyli cały czas. Okej, to jeszcze raz to zrobię. Stop share. Share screen. Jeszcze raz. Teraz? Chyba mi to nie wyjdzie. Chyba to omówię po prostu.
I guess I'll just discuss it because I won't be able to share this. Okay.
Bo jest inaczej, jak wybieramy podróż emigranta.
Okay, because it's different when we choose to be a migrant. although it's not entirely a choice, after all. I've got a bit of my own history at the back of my head, but it's different when we choose to migrate, and it's a totally different situation when we need to leave in the middle of the night to survive. And we meet these people in our offices who come to us with a certain fragment of the story, and we ask them what kind of migrants they are. Well, I left my country because I couldn't actually find my right place as a woman here, and I went to the UK when I was 16, and I saw women of different shapes, and I met with fat phobia here in Poland, and in the UK, you know, I thought I would find something I was looking for, and so maybe reflect for a moment.
Z różnych miejsc. Jeżeli macie takie doświadczenie w wyjeździe gdzieś emigracji.
If you have these experiences of migration, of going somewhere, leaving your country, if you could identify one thing, just reflect on this, one sentence or one feeling which guided you and led you to migrate. Of course, with all respect due, I will say there's a difference between leaving voluntarily and forced migration. So this is an important question we should ask of our clients in our office, because if you find this core, yes, again, I use the English word in Polish, if you find this essence, this core of this, that the client is capable of identifying it themselves, then you can build a lot on it. You can build a lot of therapy on this, and this migration experience expanded in my case. It got deeper, it got additional hues and flavors, but if I were to identify a single fragment of this experience, that was precisely that. My therapists had never asked me about it in the office, and I believe this would have been very helpful indeed.
Się też tutaj do takiego
I would like to refer to adjustment and what I believe is very helpful, namely our curiosity. This is precisely what guides me in my work with clients, in my cultural work. Of course, creative adjustment is very important, but my curiosity, being curious about the other person, about this meeting, is something that supports me personally. And when I was preparing for this lecture, I developed an interest in what it looks like in Poland, and in how many people were actually working interculturally in some way. And my research, well, the outcome is not terribly rosy, you know, because many people actually either talk to someone, well, about 2 or 3% only of people in Poland talk to some people from different cultures. But when I talk to my friends from the UK, there it's about 50% or even more people who encounter other cultures on a daily basis. So my question is, how come we're not open to this fragment of the reality around us? How come people don't come to our office, people from different countries?
Muszę zmodyfikować trochę to moje przemówienie, bo patrzę, że tak naprawdę...
Maybe I should modify my presentation a bit, because we don't have too many Poles here, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Lena, is that the case? We don't have too many Polish persons? Yeah, about a quarter are Polish people. So it's kind of shocking for me. I'm a bit astonished by the fact that it didn't happen, that Poles did not show up for a conference which is about cultures. Well, nevertheless, please reflect on what it means to be on someone else's ground, on someone else's soil. Jean-Marie talked about this, and Anatoly talked about this, how we change our land. Of course, there is complexity in it, and there is no single answer. But please reflect inside what it means to change your land, to move to a different soil. We have to be educators, as Anatoly said. At the office, we need to teach people how to integrate in the culture. This is 50% of the truth for me, that I educate when someone is sitting in front of me, what they come to me with. And for a long time in the UK, in Scotland, you know, there was this diversity officer, you know, it's exactly, we use this term in English, in the Polish language too. And so people would arrive, people coming from different cultures, and I try to educate the people about also some sort of cultural sensitivity. We help them in their integration and in their colors, in their flavors. In all these flavors, you know, we teach them to cope with change because they fear change, and of course this is a more it's a broader anxiety, not only being afraid of people coming here and stealing our land, stealing our husbands, stealing our wives, you know, like some say. So Christina said something.
Aniko, przeczytasz, czy ja mam to zrobić dla ciebie?
So should I read it for you? No. I'll ask Christina. Could she say this?
I don't want to interfere. I can ask afterwards. I just wrote it not to interfere the talk.
Nie przeszkadza. Ja wolę, jak to
No, you're not interfering. I prefer this to be interactive because I don't know what has already been said, so I find it better this way.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for this great organization. I am German and living in Turkey since about 4 generations, and I'm totally integrated in Turkey. And since about 10 years, the demographics of Turkey is changing immensely, and I see it myself. I am looking from the part. I don't see myself very foreigner. I also have a Turkish citizenship since some time. I am looking at the situation also, how a country's demographics can change when it receives a lot of immigration. So it's I think that we should ask the question from both sides. One side, from the people who are coming to that country, and the second side, from the people who are receiving the migrants, who are seeing their country changing completely, and what they think also. It's quite interesting, exciting, and sometimes also very scary. I can talk a lot of things, what I see, and from my point of view, I feel scared. So there are both sides to the situation. I just wanted to make a feedback like that. Thank you.
Dziękuję, Krystyna.
Thank you, Christina. Yes, I do agree. I wanted to say precisely this, that it's an exchange, it's dialogue. It's what I was talking about. Actually, it's when I came to the UK. Yes, so I'm supposed to press Polish because something. Yes, can you hear me? Yes, it's all right. Yes, we can hear this. I graduated in the UK. I went to the botanical gardens. I remember that situation. And I was in awe. I was admiring some plants, and some guy came and he was also admiring the plants, and he heard my accent and he said, "Oh, you're from Poland, great. Poles, you know, they are hardworking people, and my cleaning lady is Polish." And that was something I kept hearing, you know, from many people, that
miły w pewnym sensie, to jest to coś takiego, co powodowało.
So there was this, you know, there was this tinge of, you know, this maybe slightly patronizing attitude.
Jak to jest po polsku remarks? Co mi powie?
Komentarz.
Uwagi, dziękuję bardzo. Takie drobne uwagi właśnie, które...
Yes, exactly, remarks. I was missing the word in Polish. So people make these remarks and they think they are being kind, but this can be like mosquito bites, you know, like these little mosquito bites. And someone comes to our office, and everyone experiences these bites every now and then. But if 3 mosquitoes bite us, it's okay. But if someone has mosquito bites every day, 50 of them, look at how it changes the dynamics in the office. We sit with someone who has their story, their life, but also 50 these small mosquito bites every single day. And this actually makes tears come to my eyes now, because without realizing this, we often want to challenge too much as therapists. We don't inquire, we don't investigate, because you don't see it outside. You can see a mosquito bite, this mark outside, but you don't see what I'm talking about. You don't see these internal bites. And so these are these examples I quote. And again, this curiosity enters the picture. What it's like to be you in this cultural context, what it's like to be from your culture and be in this country.
Powiem trochę też o konfluencji takiej kulturowej, bo na przykład miałam też w gabinecie, będę mówiła na przykładach właśnie tego typu.
So I'm going to give you some examples. I used to have people coming to my office because I was Polish, precisely because I was Polish, and they were Poles in the UK. And they often invited me to this cultural confluence. And this element was important to introduce this, because there were those fragments. I'm trying to give you some example. Because those Brits, why do they need to live in their own houses? That was the question. Because oftentimes families used to come to the UK, and that's not, I'm sorry to be generalizing, but you know, this, when family members come, they stay at a hotel and not at their family's home. In Poland, when you have visitors from the family, they come to your flat, they come to your house, and they stay there, not at a hotel. So the biggest conflict was that you know, my family had to stay at a hotel. This was the biggest conflict.
Moja partnerka jest też Brytyjką, by the way. Że faktycznie, no jak to?
So you know, my partner is also British, so I could actually relate, because someone told me of this conflict with their husband, that you know, their British husband made her family stay at a hotel and not at home.
dobrze jest też w ten sposób na to patrzeć, nie? Gdzie mamy
So it's good to look at it where this confluence.
Teraz mam klientów, którzy przychodzą do mnie, którzy są Brytyjczykami właśnie z tego względu.
So, you know, people don't want to be with someone from the UK to avoid someone having a different point of view, you know. So it works both ways.
Momencik, ja chciałabym zobaczyć, czy mi się uda otworzyć tam z tej prezentacji jeszcze raz. Share screen. Czyli widzicie folder, a teraz
Tak,
widzicie?
cały czas widzimy folder.
Do you see this folder? Yes, we see this folder now, but now.
A najpierw na komputerze.
Tak.
Dobra, dobra, dzięki.
Może to jest ten kłopot.
Dobra, dzięki. To teraz chyba już rozumiem. I chcę cały czas podkreślić, że ja mówię też o procesie emigracyjnym. Nie mówię o procesie...
And I wanted to emphasize that I keep talking about the migration process. Yes, sorry, you have to stop sharing your screen and open this on your computer. Yeah, okay, technical notes.
To okienko udostępnić nam.
Dobra. Dziękuję bardzo za cały tech support, bo nie jestem płynna w tym zupełnie. Share screen. I teraz.
Yeah, okay, now it's working. Can you see that?
Tak, dziękujemy.
Dobra. Teraz chcę wprowadzić taki element, który też dla mnie był bardzo istotny i jest...
Okay, now I wanted to discuss an element which was very important for me.
No, jak wiecie, o tym politycznie migranci są po prostu...
As you know, political migrants are being shifted around, and on the one hand, they are in the center of
politycznego, jak to powiedzieć,
political, how to put it?
Jest to jakiś fragment, którym można się przepychać. Mnie to bardzo osobiście dotyka.
There's this room where they can be shifted around, and this touches me also quite personally. And there's a quote, and it is a quote. Please note that Poles were referred to as the white Negroes of Europe.
To jest w kontekście w ogóle rewolucji na Haiti.
So this is in the context of the revolution in Haiti, but in the UK, Poles used to be perceived as cheap labor force, and I also experienced this with people from Ukraine now, that people talk about Ukrainians in this manner. What does it mean?
Co to znaczy? Jest to fragment kontrowersyjny trochę, ale chciałam to przytoczyć, bo...
Well, this is controversial, but I wanted to quote this because when I come to this part of my presentation, usually energy drops because people don't want to touch that, don't want to face this fragment where, you know, people who come to our office,
żeby zaistnieć w tym systemie. Tutaj
they know that they have to make tremendous effort to kind of exist in this system and exploit themselves, so to speak. And Anatoly talked about this. Migration tends to be ruthless at times. And again, with all due respect, this is a complicated process. My friend said that migrants in the UK, and it's also the case in Poland now, any country that welcomes migrants, I suppose it's the same situation.
Drabina.
Drabina. Poza drabiną.
Yes, they are outside this ladder which they could climb. Migrants are somewhere on the side. That is this class system, and migrants are totally outside it, and they have to do more to climb this ladder, to get on this ladder at all, let alone climb it. And the same is going on in Poland now. When we talk about migrants from Ukraine or from Belarus or from other places, that these people have to actually do much more to make a presence. And we as therapists, how can we support this? How can we support this process without, at least this is my case, without accepting this treatment? At least I don't accept it.
Przykład z warsztatów, które miałam.
Let me quote something from the workshop I ran. I was 22, 23 years. Went to a workshop with a very well-known person who deals with cultural differences, because I thought I would find a piece of closeness, something I would need there. The first thing that she had done there, I had a mala there, and mala are like beads that you spin and twirl in your fingers. And I think in the Buddhist and Muslim culture, I was full of very anxious, and I kept twirling those beads in my hand, and that person was furious because she had come from a place where it was very difficult for her. So I set those beads aside. And I said, figured, okay, this might be something too difficult for her. I didn't know at that time how to be with myself, and then she told me not to wear the same outfit twice, because I had class on Saturday and Sunday, and I think I had the same outfit then. I was squatting at that time to survive and to be able to study. And I thought to myself that this was also a fragment that was very insensitive, because the people who come to us, I wasn't able to afford 2 outfits at that time, and I did not have any big possibilities at that time. So I'm touching these aspects. This can be something obvious to someone, like wearing different outfits every day, or not repeating the same outfit, or that a client comes in and is wearing the same thing every single time. Not that he doesn't wash them. I washed myself. I took care of my hygiene. But come back to this delicateness and sensitiveness and exploring this aspect. So there was insensitivity on my part, so lack of knowledge, and on her part as well. So I'm citing this that no matter what we think, or how much prepared we are for working with multicultural clients, what is important is how we reintroduce that and how we leave that aside. And we are not able to be sensitive to everything. So it's not that we won't make those mistakes. It's important to feel comfortable and behave freely in our therapeutic setting, but also to learn different cultures of our clients. So learning with curiosity. I'm looking at the time. Let me check with the organizers. I think Time is running out. We have time until 11:45. You can either say something or you can wrap things up slowly. We can check for any comments. Okay, I see there's someone wants to ask a question. Anatoly! I think it's Anatoly, yeah. I'll switch to Ukrainian. I have many questions regarding the psychology of migration, and I found answers to them in the lecture of Agnieszka. As for books on the psychology of migration, there will be 5 of them. I've published the first one already. I sent 2 copies as a gift to the Łódź School of Gestalt. These are books in Ukrainian about the psychology of migration. This is one of 4 in the series. They will be translated into a few languages, so I recommend that you read them because they contain descriptions of all these difficult moments that Agnieszka mentioned. Now, as for the last issue, when Poles were referred to as the white Negroes in Haiti, in the UK, and now similarly people are referring to Ukrainian. John Barry, the Canadian psychologist, described the phenomenon of acculturation, how people can arrive at certain results. For example, a migrant who has lived in a foreign country for some years already, then it's very important to understand these things because every field of science, knowledge has created its structure for categorizing. Currently, there is no such structure is missing. So we want to propose that structure in these books that I'm referring to. Each psychotherapist will have their own individual perception of the world. Many processes that take care in the different countries will also be perceived subjectively by people, individually. And here we can speak about attribution. In light of lack of scientific knowledge, a migrant can attribute certain things to a process that are not reflected in reality, because an ordinary John from the has a different perception of the world than a scientist or an academic. The science approaches motivation to migration completely differently than regular people. If someone makes a decision to migrate and how that is treated, all this can be found in the first book that I've referred to. What type of thinking, what is the state of thinking in migrants? As for cross-cultural skills in migrants, I apologize for taking up the floor, but so I've talked about this last week already. But if we take into account Canada or the US, the cross-cultural psychology is lectured at virtually any college and university. In Europe, the things are different, much worse. That's why we have either cultural framework of social behavior as a subject on the Warsaw University or intercultural communication. So I propose that you have a look at those the books. The first core academic course book published in the previous century, and last year we had it reissued. My apologies for taking the time.
No. I really appreciate your contribution. Could we give Anika some time to respond and then hear from other questioners? Thank you.
Okej, no Anatoli, do ciebie tylko powiem.
Anatoli, let me just say that I'm waiting for that book because I will gladly read through it. So thank you.
Pasja, no, zaangażowanie, tak. Joasiu, Joanna, sorry, I don't know if you're actually Polish.
Я розумію, так, я на англійській розумію, це якби, я розумію.
Tak, rozumiem, I understand, yes.
Ale to ja przeszłam już Asia, tak, bo miałaś podniesione Joanna i Joasiu.
Asia może być wszystko jedno.
Asia's fine.
Mogę mówić po polsku, mogę mówić po angielsku, wszystko mi jedno.
I can speak Polish or English, doesn't matter. John, if you're speaking Polish, please switch on the Polish channel. If you're speaking English, turn on the English channel, please, so that we can hear you well. I've switched, thanks. There is a third category of migrant as well that I come across often, a child that has been moved by parents who wanted to migrate, and the children are facing a situation in which the parents want to keep cultivating the culture that they were brought up in, and the child has to adapt to the culture of the host country or the new country. I have many such clients with such headbutting, such clashes where the child cannot fully be immersed in the culture they're in because they have to be adapted to the culture that is cultivated still at home, and the parents are sticking to their original culture so much that it's very difficult for them to adapt. It's great that you are talking about this and mentioning this, because over 35 minutes there's not so few things that we can mention here, but of course there is this aspect in between. Anyone else? Yes, I'd like to briefly mention the mechanism in psychology of migration. I'm sorry, Anatoly, but I hate being in this role.
Czas, czy ja mogłabym ciebie skontaktować?
Our time is limited, unfortunately. Could I put you in contact with Anika or ask you to write something in the chat box if this was something for everyone? Because as per our agenda, Tana Conrad is waiting for her time, and other participants are waiting as well.
Tutaj swojej roli, żeby...
So I'm sorry, but I need you to step in.
Przepraszam.
Dziękuję wam bardzo.
I'm sorry, thank you
Dziękuję bardzo za zaproszenie i
very much. Thank you for the invitation, and good luck in working with multiple clients. Thank you very much. Anika, if you can stay with us, perhaps in the chat box someone will have some questions.